We got Jonathan Moxey with us now, and I'll say it again. JM, I appreciate you spending some time with us here on the bye week. What's a guy like you get up to on a bye week? How's it been for you?
Man, it's good to give that body a rest. Down in South Florida right now, down in West Palm. Just left the beach this morning. So enjoying the sunlight for right now.
Outstanding. Well, that puts us about 23 miles apart, you and I, right now. Two guys hooking up on the show here today. And the Players Association Spotlight is brought to you by our friends at Sober Carpenter Non-Alcoholic Craft Beers. Jonathan, you've been in Calgary long enough to know that what's gone on this season. I hate to ask the tough questions, but at 4-9, you guys aren't used to this. So how are you handling it?
Yeah, not at all, man. Honestly, it's been a weird year. I tell everybody all the time, when you look at our record and it says 4-9, we could easily be 9-4. Like, we lose a lot of close games, and at the end of the day, we have to find a way to win those close games. That's what it comes down to.
And again, you've been a veteran of the NFL and the CFL in a bye week. How does that help a team that, and I don't even know how much you're struggling. You came off the home win in the Labor Day Classic against Edmonton, then you go up and lose on the last second up there. What do you need to do in this bye week to make sure you come back not in the same funk as a team?
Honestly, we getting banged up by a lot of injuries. I don't know if you noticed. I know strictly from the secondary, every week it seems like we lose a guy here or lose a guy there. But it also has been happening on the D-line and also on the offensive side of the ball too. So, and it's not an excuse. At the end of the day, we got to step up. We got to have guys come in and make plays and execute the game plan. So we have to do that. And then honestly, we got to do some soul searching. We have 5 games left. And if we want to make a run for the playoffs, it's something that we got to come in there. We got to look in the mirror and really step up and decide, hey, we got to start winning these games, close or not. We got to win games.
I know that you guys are good enough to do it, and I should mention, and I don't know if the CFLPA told you, I spent all summer in Calgary, so I heard the buzz around town, and most everybody's like, we'll figure it out by the last third. This is the fans. We always do. Dickie and Huff will have it figured out by the last third of the season. I'm guessing you don't want to wait that long. Mind you, I guess we're entering the stretch drive here right now, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of panic in town because you guys have built that equity within the fan base and probably your locker room too.
It's a good thing that we build that trust. Personally, I never like to wait until the last minute to get anything done. I like to prepare, and I like to start fast. But like you said, it's where we are now. We're in the bottom third of the season. So at the end of the day, we got to lock in and make some changes. And if we want to make that push to get that playoff spot, then we got to make some changes and we got to make it happen quick.
Well, Jonathan, I see this is more of a conversation than an interview. And I was talking to a football guy yesterday, a coach, and I was saying, hey, Dickie threatened to make changes way back in July. I heard him on the radio saying, if we don't turn this around, I'm making changes. And then he never really did. And this coach goes, they don't have practice rosters anymore in the CFL big enough that they got somebody just sitting around waiting, for replacements. Is that a thing? I mean, you've been in the CFL long enough to know. You can threaten to make changes, but you got to have somebody sitting there ready to go. And that's not just a Calgary thing. That might be right across the whole CFL.
Yeah, like I was talking about earlier, I know from his perspective, it's probably a lot different. With him being the GM and the head coach, it's probably a lot different. So, like, some of the stuff is like maybe we've had a lot of injuries, right? But then how soon can you get a guy to come up here and learn the entire playbook and be ready to play immediately? That's not very it's not easy at all, especially for the American players. You can't just get a guy to come up here and just learn how to cover the waggle. That's something that takes time. Even the guys that are the best cover guys down south, they come into training camp every year, and you learn sooner than later. This is not the same football. And I'm pretty sure it's the same way for all skilled players, same way for the guys up front playing that extra yard off the ball. It's a different game, and it's a different speed. So it's very hard, I feel like, to just, boom, make a change because you still got to find guys to come in and learn. And as far as everything else, I mean, outside looking in, you wouldn't really know if he made any changes coaching-wise because he would only know that, if you know what I'm saying. So at the end of the day, we just got to lean on Dave and trust Dave. He's been doing this thing for years. You know what I'm saying? Like years and years playing and now coaching. So we just got to lean on him and trust his judgment.
It's interesting that you say that because the football people all trust Dave, but you can see how the fans get antsy. 4-9 doesn't look good. And again, they're not used to it. They are not used to it in Calgary. So I'm interested to see how this final third turns around for you guys. Just before I ask about your schedule coming up, you've been in the CFL long enough. You were an all-star just last year. That football guy said with the XFL and the USFL, it's harder to get players to come up. What made you want to come up? I know those leagues weren't around when you did, but how did you find your way to Calgary? Because I know it's gone great ever since you did.
Honestly, that's probably a credit to Cole Huff. He's a guy who always checked up on me every offseason. Like every time I got released, so I got released from Tampa Bay twice. I got released from the Cardinals twice, just on and off of their practice squads. And Huff would always check in on me. Are you good? You know what I'm saying? Making sure, see if I wanted to make that step. And eventually I just said, you know what, I'm ready to play football. And he hit me up one time and I said, you know what, let's do it. Like you said, those leagues down south, they do make it a little more difficult for guys to travel up this way. If you are down there, technically now with them moving up the base salary up here, it's a similar amount of money. But we are in a different country. And I think that is something that a lot of the GMs up here in Calgary, they understand. But then I don't know if it's like league wide as far as like how far it is. We are in a different country. Guys are leaving their families to come work and come play football. When you're playing in those other leagues, the pro for it is that you're in the U.S., so you're probably a little bit closer to home. Some of those guys, they play in those states where if you're in Texas, there's 2 teams there, I believe, so they're right home. Those are the only difference. The biggest thing about coming to Calgary for me and staying there and not going to one of these other leagues is you can actually make a career out of it. You could do 2-year deals. You can make more money. The better that you play, you might be able to make twice as much that you would make down there. So that's one of the pros for me as far as you could build an actual career in the CFL. Long term, you could play there for however many years and your salary can continue to grow as long as you're performing. Down there, they have set salaries and there's nothing you can do.
It's a transient league, the USFL and the XFL. It's different rosters every year. I know exactly what you're saying. And Calgary is just a fantastic city. I love it so much. And I could sit here and talk to you for a long time. Maybe we'll do it in the off season. I'm going to be here, Jonathan. What do they call you, J-Mox? I'm going to be here all winter, so maybe we can get some wings somewhere and talk about it more. But I just got to ask you about the final third of the season for the Calgary Stampeders. I know you're thinking 1 week at a time, not how many wins you're going to need. But when you think about that final third, what do you think about? Can we get this done?
I think we could get it done. You asked me my nickname. I go by all of those. J Mox, Money Mox in the locker room. But yeah, I truly think we can get it done. A guy like me, you know what I'm saying, I'm never shying away from adversity. And I think my teammates are the same way. We're going to go to work. Like I preach it every day. We go to work and we compete every day in practice. Even at this latter part of the season, we're still going to go hard. We're still going to figure it out. We have extra meetings. We're going to lock in and really figure out what we need to do to win games. And I feel like it's not going to be until everybody does it and we all have to execute on the same time. Like it can't just be one day the defense shows up, offense doesn't. One day offense shows up and the defense falls off. We have to do it at the same time. And that goes for offense, defense, special teams, and coaching. We have to all mesh at the same time, and this is the time to do it. So it's a good thing that we have this bye week so that we can all self-reflect. I think actually when we go back, I think they extend the practice rosters. So that's a good thing. That'll help us get through practice. That'll be smoother, and they can get a better evaluation of some more guys coming in, which is good for scouting and good for the roster depth in general. So it's the time for us to do it.
That's what it's going to take. Money Mox, you're a great speaker. Thanks for the time. Enjoy the rest of the bye week. We're watching real close.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Jonathan Moxey of the Calgary Stampeders.